Okay, well, post-match at Meadowbank, Wanderers' first clean sheet of the season, a 0-0 draw this afternoon with Eastleigh, joined by Wanderers manager Mark White. Mark, get your thoughts on that one this afternoon.
Well, my thoughts were it was a game that you could, decompartmentalise. There wasn't really a consistent theme. I think the consistent theme in the first half was that we had our patterns absolutely spot on, and we really made Eastleigh play on the counter attack or direct plays. And so the first half was entirely on script. Really, we worked the ball into really dangerous areas. Final third, which was the consistent theme in the game, just wasn't good enough. But the sort of football we're renowned for was there. First half, transferring the ball across midfield, creating 1v1s, all the things we talked about. I'll say one thing for that possession and for that last third action. Harrison made another great save in the first 15 minutes that ultimately made a big difference. And we looked a little bit open for my liking. It was a game you would have liked to see Dan Gallagher playing the holding role with the extra height and physicality. But Dan Gallagher was missing today, and he'll be back next week. And then second half, we had a great start. I thought Nard had a good impact in midfield today when he went in there. Really disappointed with Jason for the penalty. He's got to do, penalty takers just should take their A penalty or their B penalty, put some welly behind it, and if the keeper saves it, you say, well done, mate. Jason's done a penalty he never does. Keeper read it a mile off. Massively disappointing. And as disappointing as that was the fact that we started going direct in the last 20 minutes. So Harrison, we've had a chat about it in there. Harrison's, and the back three and the back four, it was disappointing. For those that know football, it was predictable. Their double pivot started dropping on Jason and not always toes, thinking, well, they're just going direct now. Baz, Tony and George weren't dictating what was going on. Whoever was marking the double pivot, Josh Taylor was the man that was dropping in. He didn't go in there and say, look, my man's doing this, can you give me the ball? We gave up our principles, and that was because we were trying not to lose. Were we disappointed with a penalty? Maybe. Were we tired? Definitely. We definitely looked tired on a hot day. And then we sort of played the last 20 minutes in a style that Eastleigh would have wanted, giving the ball, back to them, letting their defenders, centre-halves come over the top, helped out by their teammates. So there's a responsibility there from Harrison, ultimately, and the back three. They should be understanding how we want to play. They done it first half, they got tired, they stopped doing it second half. So, I don't know, you think, Dan, to be fair, mate, is a point a fair result on the balance of play? Maybe.
Yeah, I think it certainly was an even contest in terms of play going back and forth. I think there was a consensus that in the first half Eastleigh had better chances in the game. But on that note though, Mark, and obviously it was epitomised by Jason missing the penalty, and we're obviously disappointed with that. Do you want to see the players be a bit bolder in the final third in terms of getting shots off maybe? I know we had a lot of final third activity.
Yeah.
Just in terms of getting into the box and getting shots off the guys from midfield.
Yeah.
I know Bobby and Seb, Bob, to be fair, when he came on, did sort of instigate that a little bit.
Yeah, not often we have two games back to back where we don't score.
That's it,
rare,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, you look at just composure really. Just composure. We've got the ball in so many good wide areas, and you just need a lot more composure. A bit of information, communication. Like I said, there's boys that, the likes of Seeger, that's extremely dangerous. I think this game would have really suited him off the back line that was high. We miss Seeger, we're missing Jimmy, we're missing Briggsy. No disrespect to Bob or Niall, but if they have as much wing action as that in 90 minutes, something's going to happen. There'll be some magic somewhere. So we're obviously not full strength, Dan. We're not full strength. We picked up a point. I agree with you. I think they had the better chances across the 90. I think probably a point in that respect is fair. But it was a funny old game because for large passages we controlled it, and we had them on the back foot. So, mixed game. I think all we'll take out of that today is really the point. First half was I thought was okay. and just that disappointing going direct bit. So we need to improve that.
In terms of personnel, Mark, we obviously lost Luke Moore through the course of the first half, and obviously George Franklin was struggling towards the end of the second half as well. How are we looking on the injury front and personnel, looking ahead to the
Well, I'll say
new
one
week?
thing, mate. I'll say one thing. They literally should rip these pitches up, mate. And I've always been a big fan of them, mate. But, you know, you need to smell the coffee with these pitches, mate. Their bloke goes down. And straight away I think, here we go. Artificial pitch injury. Moro.
This is the Eastleigh player who went down, Robert Hodgson, who went down very early on in the game, didn't he? Yes.
See it. Plants his foot, goes down. Moro, same thing. He'll be out 4 or 5 weeks. We've had, I think, 4 ACLs on this pitch in 5 years. Pro teams won't let teams play on these pitches. You know, I think these pitches have a belonging, and that's in a leisure centre or, you know, youth teams or clubs. They're really important for participation, for senior elite sport, mate. The amount of injuries on these pitches, mate, I'm really starting to smell the coffee, mate, and it's not good enough. And they charge a fortune, right? They do the old Del Boy sat on the roof like a roofer going, you need more rubber, this, more that. You know, this is a quality pro pitch, you need to dump this on, it's going to cost you 20 grand, this, that. Oh, the bounce, the roll. Let me tell you, they have not got a clue what a good pitch like this is like. They ain't got a clue, and they're not safe. And that is how I see it, because I'm fed up with losing boys for months at a time on these shit pitches. So hopefully, and obviously, you know, that's not me saying we've got to rip our pitch out, it's not our choice. But I just feel like for youth participation, you know, where the movements are lower key, the game is slower, etc., they're completely fine. But for this elite level, mate, and they're not safe, mate. So disappointed to lose Moro. Big speech about 3G pitches.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to see the positive side. Obviously going for difficulties with personnel, not helped by the pitch, as you've acknowledged. But in terms of players coming back in the frame for next week, Mark, anybody who we can expect to maybe potentially get back involved for Oldham next week?
Well, hopefully Seager. He's with a back spasm muscle issue. Hopefully Seager. That would be good. Dan Gallagher, hopefully. You know, we've got 2 training sessions. We want to work with Dan Pybus, Alex Lancashire. They need to be in the building, and we're going to set up a few practice matches this week. It's early season. You can throw a blanket over the league. Thanks to the fans, the Eastleigh fans, the Eastleigh fans were fantastic. So thanks to them for coming up. You know, they made a big effort to get behind their team, and the Wanderers supporters. You know,
I was going to say to you as a final word, fantastic full voice throughout the game in the bank stand. Yeah,
you know,
brilliant.
it's that time of year where some of these and the sun, but you know what? Like, brilliant support, sung the boys home, got behind them. You know, the highs are higher when you're there for the sort of lows, if that makes sense. I don't think today's a big low. I think last Saturday against York, we were good for 3 points. I think today, I wouldn't say we were good for 3 points, but if we would have got 3 points, no one would have been surprised. It was that type of game. So we have to take the positives. We go again up to our friends at Oldham, and I look forward to that, mate, very much. And we've got a week to prepare for it.
Brilliant stuff. It certainly was one of the best occasions on the road last season for sure, Oldham. So hopefully more of the same next weekend. Mark, thank you for your time.
Cheers, mate.
And we'll see you next week.
Cheers.